Justus Henning Böhmer was an outstanding German jurist, ecclesiastical jurist, professor of the University of Halle and also Geheimer Rat, Count Palatine and Chancellor of the Duchy of Magdeburg. Career. After his time at school in Hanover, Justus Henning Böhmer studied law at the University of Jena since 1693. He attended judicial lectures inter alia with Professor Nikolaus Christoph Linke and also lectures in philosophy and theology. Initially, after his first dissertation, he was acted as an advocate in his hometown Hanover, but this employment did not meet his demands. In the year 1697 he therefore accepted an offer from the University of Rinteln, where he lectured young noblemen on his subjects. Some months later he moved to the Martin Luther University of Halle, which was founded 1694, where he prepared his second dissertation with Christian Thomasius, Johann Franz Budius and Samuel Strype. On August 27, 1699 he succeeded to complete his licentiate of civil law and church law. After a further time of lectures he had the opportunity to establish contact to the Prussian king's court, while he attended his protege, the young nobleman Duke Heinrich Georg of Waldeck, to the court. There his extraordinary judicial talent attracted attention, and on July 27, 1701 he was promoted to associate professor at the University of Halle, where he received his doctor's degree on August 11, 1702. He owed Samuel Strype, who was his former mentor and paternal friend, his advancement to Stryke's adjutant on December 9, 1704, and later the position as professor of the judicial faculty at November 24, 1711. After Samuel Stryke's death in the year 1715, Boehmer was appointed to the professorship and obtained also Stryke's position of feudal law. In the same year, on August 17, the Emperor Court of Wien upgraded him to a Count Palatine. 4 years later, on May 23, 1719, King Frederick William I of Prussia awarded him the title Geheimer Rat and nominated him on May 25, 1719 as director of the University of Halle and deputy full professor of the judicial faculty. In the meantime, and due to his good reputations, he received offers from the Emperor Court of Wien, from the universities of Bern, Kiel, Helmstedt, Frankfurt, Tübingen and Ussel, but he disclaimed all of this because he wanted to stay at Halle. Instead of this, he advised his son Georg Ludwig Boehmer to the University of Göttingen and his son Johann Samuel Friedrich von Boehmer to the University of Frankfurt. After the death of the Chancellor of the Duchy of Magdeburg, Johann Peter von Ludwig, Boehmer was assigned Ludwig's function on December 14, 1743, and at the same time was promoted to full professor in Halle. But only a few years later suddenly he died with an apoplectic stroke. Judicial efforts. Justus Henning Boehmer was characterized not only by his excellent scholarship, but also by his deep religious perception. Thus he composed some significant chants, especially in his earlier years. In the judicial field, initially he was a protectionist of the existing territorial system, or a Erastian theory of ecclesiastical government. But in the following years he represented a tendency to the natural right and the collegialismus, which was mainly continued by his sons. In his first great work, Jus Ecclesiasticum Protestantium, he still drew on the traditional canon law, but he reformed the law to that effect that it was exempted from rigid orthodoxy, principles, resistance and dogmatism. Affected by the ideas of the Age of Enlightenment, he represented an increasing critical and scientific development instead of a religious Fundamentalism. Boehmer's conception was predominant in the common Protestantism church law of the 18th century and was basis for further reforms to date. His results in the domain of civil law were of similar importance. In his next main work, Introductio in Jure Digestorum, a Pandects compendium which was maintained until the 20th century, he liberated the traditional German law from the influence of the Old Roman law and thus prepared the basis of general Landrecht of the Prussian states. A huge amount of further significant and notable works on civil and church law as well as expertises were penned by him, and were publicized by his son Georg Ludwig Boehmer after Justus Henning's death in the collected edition Exercitations ad Pandectas some years later. Family. Justus Henning Boehmer, son of the lawyer Valentin Boehmer and Anna Margareta Schirmer, was married to Eleanor Rosine Stutzing. With her he had 5 children, 4 sons and 1 daughter who died with the age of 14 months. 3 of his sons, Johann Samuel Friedrich von Boehmer, Karl August von Boehmer and Georg Ludwig Boehmer were also important German jurists, whereas the 4th son, Philipp Adolf Boehmer, was a professor of medicine and anatomy and also personal physician of King Frederick William II of Prussia. Works. Jure Parochial, Halle, 1701. Introductio in Jure Digestorum, Halle, 1704. Jure Ecclesiasticum Protestantium, Halle, 1714.